in a world that never slows down, where the hum of traffic, the ping of notifications, and the endless demands of life blend into a single overwhelming roar, there exists a quiet voice, almost forgotten, yet eternal, a voice that whispers of peace, of strength, of a life that feels whole and unshakable. And today, here on Stoic Edge, I want to take you into that stillness, into that wisdom, into a place where hope lives like a gentle flame that never dies. Because the truth is, so many of us live caught in the storm, tossed from worry to worry, desire to desire, disappointment to disappointment, never realizing that inside us, right now, there is a fortress of calm waiting to be built, an inner citadel of unshakable serenity. And as we begin this journey together, I invite you to take a slow breath, feel your chest rise, and let your shoulders drop, because what you are about to hear is not just a list of ideas, it is a path, a way of living, a way of feeling that can change your life forever. And it all begins with the first habit, the heart of Stoicism itself, the habit of focusing only on what you can control. For think of how much of our lives are spent fighting the inevitable, cursing the weather, resenting the actions of others, worrying about the past, fearing the future. And in all this struggle, we forget the simple truth. The only thing that truly belongs to us is our own mind, our own choices, our own actions. And when you let go of everything else, of the storms you cannot stop, of the opinions you cannot change, of the events you cannot predict, a lightness enters your heart, a freedom unlike anything you have ever known, because no one can take from you the power to choose your response, to guide your own boat through the river of life. And as this truth settles in, imagine waking up tomorrow and letting the world be the world, allowing the noise and chaos to swirl around you, while inside, you remain calm, focused, and free. Because your energy is no longer wasted on the uncontrollable. It is directed fully to the only thing you ever had power over, yourself. And when you begin to live this way, something beautiful happens. Your days start to feel clearer, lighter, more meaningful. And this is where the second habit comes to life, the habit of daily reflection and journaling. Because our minds are like crowded rooms, full of noise and shadows, full of memories and worries. And if we never pause to see what's inside, we live half blind. But when you take just a few quiet moments each night to sit with yourself, with a pen and paper, and let your thoughts flow out, something magical happens. The fog begins to lift, the noise begins to fade, and you begin to see yourself, your day, your life, with clarity. And this is not just theory, it is the very practice of Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, who ruled the most powerful empire on earth. Yet each night, by candlelight, he would write in his private journal, pouring out his thoughts, his doubts, his lessons, not for anyone else to see, but to understand himself, to grow, to strengthen his inner citadel. And when you do this, you create a mirror for your soul, a space where wisdom is born, where hope quietly blooms, and where the next day can begin, not as a blur, but as a conscious choice, guided by reflection. And as this habit becomes part of your life, you will find yourself moving differently, speaking differently, feeling differently, because clarity is a kind of power, a power that feeds the next habit, one that may seem strange to modern ears, but carries a truth that can transform your heart. Negative visualization. This practice, taught by Seneca and cherished by Stoics for centuries, is the art of imagining loss, not to live in fear, but to awaken gratitude, because so often we walk through life blind to the blessings around us, numb to the warmth of what we have, always chasing more, and in that chase, we forget to truly see. But when you pause, and for a moment imagine life without the things you love, without your home, your health, your family, your freedom, when you imagine the sun rising on a day where those blessings are gone, your heart awakens, your eyes open, and suddenly the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The cup of water, the laughter of a friend, the air filling your lungs, the light through the window, all of it feels like a miracle. And it is in this gratitude that life becomes alive again, vibrant and rich. And this simple habit of seeing the preciousness of now, of holding the present gently in your hands, creates a hope and joy that no storm can take from you. And with this foundation of control, reflection, and gratitude, we step into the next habit, one that builds the strength to protect this light. Self-discipline. Self-discipline, the quiet superpower of the Stoics, the kind of strength that is invisible to the world but unshakable inside. Because freedom is not doing whatever you want whenever you want, True freedom is the ability to guide yourself, to rise above your impulses, to choose the hard path when it is right, to say no to the easy road that leads nowhere, to wake when you said you would, to keep promises even when no one is watching. And each act of discipline is like a brick in your inner citadel, making you stronger, freer, and more alive. And with every day that you practice this, the noise of the world matters less, the opinions of others fade, and you begin to feel a deep, steady hope, because you know that no matter what happens outside, you can trust yourself inside. And as this quiet strength begins to grow inside you, life itself begins to feel different, because self-discipline is not a punishment, it is a gift, a key that unlocks the door to true freedom, a freedom that no one can take from you. And with this strength you step into the next Stoic habit, the art of gratitude and acceptance, the practice of embracing life exactly as it is, with all its imperfections, joys, and sorrows, because so much of human suffering comes not from life itself but from our resistance to it, our endless wishing for things to be other than they are. And when we fight reality, we always lose. But the Stoics teach us something profound, something that can change the way you experience every single day. Amor fati, the love of fate, the love of life as it is, the willingness to look at every twist of destiny, even the hard ones, even the ones that make your chest heavy, and say, yes, this too is part of my path. Because in this acceptance there is a kind of freedom, a hope that cannot be shaken, a lightness that begins to carry you through the storms of life like a bird gliding on the wind. And the more you practice this, the more you begin to see beauty where you never saw it before, in the ordinary and the extraordinary alike, in the way sunlight falls across the floor, in the sound of rain against the window, in the laughter of a friend, in the quiet of your own breath. And this gratitude becomes a shield against despair, a lantern that lights even the darkest nights, because when you stop fighting life, you start living it fully, and in that fullness, joy is born. And yet, the Stoics knew that the world will always test us, that emotions can rise like storms and threaten to sweep us away, which is why the sixth habit, avoiding emotional traps, is so vital, because anger, envy, resentment, and fear are like thieves, stealing not only our peace but our time, our energy, our very life. And so the Stoics teach us to pause, to breathe, to see clearly before we react, to understand that no one can truly harm us without our consent, that insults are just words carried on the wind, that the actions of others reflect their soul, not ours. And when we embrace this understanding, we become untouchable, calm in the face of chaos, strong in the face of insult, like a mountain against the wind. And in that strength there is hope, a hope that feels like sunlight breaking through clouds, reminding you that no storm lasts forever, and that you are stronger than you know. And as this calmness becomes your natural state, something magical happens. The world begins to feel less threatening, more beautiful, more alive. And this leads us to the final habit, the heart of Stoic joy, the practice of living fully in the present moment, because the past is gone, unchangeable, a shadow that exists only in memory, and the future is a dream not yet born, a story our minds invent but cannot touch. And all we ever truly have is this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. And the Stoics teach us to come home to it, to live here, now, because life is not in the next achievement, the next possession, the next date is here, in the soft air you breathe, in the warmth of the sun, in the quiet rhythm of your own heart. And when you finally allow yourself to arrive in the present, life becomes vivid, colors become brighter, sounds become richer, and even the simplest experiences, a sip of water, the touch of a hand, the whisper of the wind, feel like gifts, like miracles. And this presence is not just peace, it is power, because when you live here, fully, the past cannot trap you, the future cannot scare you, and hope becomes not a distant dream but a living flame in your chest, a warmth that guides you forward no matter what storms may come. And now, as we weave all 7 Stoic habits together, focusing only on what we can control, reflecting daily through journaling, practicing negative visualization, embracing self-discipline, living with gratitude and acceptance, avoiding emotional traps, and arriving fully in the present, we begin to see that they are not separate lessons but one flowing river of wisdom, each habit feeding the next, each one strengthening the other, until your inner life becomes unshakable, luminous, and free. Because life will always bring challenges, storms will always rise, the world will always make its noise, but when you carry these habits in your heart, you become like a lighthouse, standing tall against the waves, unbroken, unwavering, shining a light of hope not just for yourself but for everyone around you. And this is the gift of Stoic living, the gift of knowing that no matter what happens outside, there is a place within you that is steady, calm, and strong. And when you live from that place, your life begins to feel like a beautiful, endless sunrise, full of possibility, full of love, full of hope. And as this journey reaches its quiet crescendo, you begin to realize that all along, the wisdom of the Stoics was not about retreating from life but about stepping more fully into it. With eyes open, heart steady, and hope alive, because when you build your inner citadel, the storms outside no longer control you, and every moment of your life becomes a choice, a gift, a chance to live deeply and love fully. And perhaps now, as you listen to these words, you can feel that shift inside you, a soft strength rising in your chest, a calmness that feels like sunlight warming your skin, and you understand, maybe for the first time, that happiness was never out there, in the next possession, the next achievement, the next approval. It was always here, waiting for you to notice it, to hold it gently, to let it live in your heart. And with this realization comes a profound hope, a hope that does not depend on what tomorrow brings, because you are rooted in yourself, and this hope is like a lantern, lighting every step of your path. And as you walk through your days, guided by these 7 Stoic habits, life begins to feel different, lighter, more vivid, because now you see the world with new eyes, noticing the way light dances on leaves, the way laughter echoes in the air, the way even silence carries a kind of music. And every moment, no matter how ordinary, becomes extraordinary, because you are truly present, truly alive. And when the hard days come, as they always will, you will meet them not with fear but with calm, because you know they are part of the river, part of the path, and within you is the strength to navigate them. And on the days when the world feels heavy, you will remember to pause, to breathe, to reflect, to write, and in that reflection, the weight will begin to lift, replaced by clarity, by understanding, by a quiet confidence that whispers, "You can handle this." And when joy comes, you will hold it closer, savor it fully, because you have learned to see how fragile and precious life is. And in that awareness, gratitude blooms like a wildflower in your soul. And this gratitude, this love for life as it is the secret to enduring hope, because even in the darkest moments, you will find light, and even in the smallest moments, you will find beauty. And this is the heart of Stoic wisdom, to live fully, to love deeply, to hope endlessly, no matter the storms that pass overhead. So now, as our journey together comes to a close, I invite you to carry this wisdom not just in your mind but in your heart, to live it, breathe it, practice it every day, because Stoicism is not a philosophy for books. It is a way of life, a way of being that transforms everything it touches. And if you let it, it will turn your life into something radiant, resilient, and full of hope. Because when you focus on what you can control, when you reflect and learn, when you embrace gratitude and self-discipline, when you avoid the traps of anger and fear, and when you live fully in the present, you will find that the world no longer overwhelms you, the storms no longer break you, and you stand like a lighthouse in the night, calm, strong, and full of light. And this light, your light, will guide you forward through every season of life, until one day you look back and realize that peace was never something to be chased. It was something to be built, here, inside, brick by brick, with every breath, with every choice, with every act of love and hope. And in that moment, you will smile, because you will finally understand that the journey was always the destination, and that in living this way, you have touched the very heart of life itself.